You especially, though, cannot be contained to a cave unless you choose to do some cave diving, because your mantra is hashtag attack life. And we've talked to you about having dinner with bin Laden sniper and hanging around with presidents, flying your own helicopter, wrangling cattle on your ranch, hiking for 10 days, sinkholes in the Yucatan, scuba diving in Arctic ice sheets.
I mean, he's the shark.
Yes, he's done everything here. He dives with sharks. And so among all bungee jumping, among all those things, before I ask you what you've done recently to challenge your life and risk your life, among all those things that I just mentioned, the one that jumps out at you is which one?
Oh my gosh. And look, they're all so stimulating in a lot of different ways, right? I just like something that actually gets all your senses in your body just fired up, whether it's visual, whether it's smell, whether it's sound, whether it's your nerves getting pushed to the edge. Those type of things that really excite me. You know, sometimes it can just be on a horseback riding across a 10-inch wide path when the drop off of 3,000 feet either side. And 10-inch wide, I mean, like a 60-inch wide, a 4 or 5 foot wide path. And you know, it's just amazing when you have that exhilarating feeling about it. And you trust your horse, you trust yourself. If you had to get out there and walk it yourself, you'd be questioning your own footing. But those type of things just, grab me immensely. Talking about caves, I mean, one of my great memories of diving in the cave of the sleeping sharks down in Isla Mujeres. It's in about 66 feet of water. It is actually a cave. You actually traverse into it. It actually wedges its way back in there. And back in the back end of it, you can actually swim around the edge of the wall, and you come up the side of the other, and there are these giant bull sharks that lay sedentary on the bottom sleeping. So you can just lay right beside them, one right next to the other. Like, I'll be here and a bull shark could be there. You can put your arms around them like you're putting your arms around your girlfriend or wife in bed. And that is the most, you can't wake them up, because if you wake them up, they get spooked and then take off towards the mouth of it. So you always have to be parallel with them. You can't be in front of them. And, you know, when you get to those type of experiences and you're in there with 3 or 4 of them, you know, big sharks over 500 pounds, 600 pounds, it's pretty impressive feeling when you can just lay there and you can almost want to go to sleep yourself. So, even though the sharks in perpetual motion, in that situation, they're not.
What is the most scared Greg Norman has ever been in the water?
Oh, that was, I might have mentioned this before, but that was when I was diving in a cave in the Bahamas. I was actually, Jacques Cousteau, God rest his soul, was trying to find the end of this cave in a certain part of the Bahamas. Very, very narrow slit. Starts in around about 10, 15 feet of water, and then you traverse down, you tear down, you tear down, you tear down. You get down over 200 feet. But it gets very, very narrow down there, actually. And I was down there with another master diver, and myself and somebody else, a guest of mine that was on the boat. And that individual panicked and started flailing away because it gets pitch dark down there. And if you get very claustrophobic, you don't want to be there. And that was a weird situation because the individual was flailing away, arms knocking everything all over the place. And I actually had to grab the individual and just push her up, push him or her, it's actually her, up against the wall for her to get to realize, okay, there's something there. There's a wall there. I can feel it. And then we had to get ourselves up. And the current there, when you're ascending, was pushing you pretty hard, so you couldn't ascend too fast. So, that was a very collective moment where where I had the experience, and I had the experience of a dive master with me that we actually controlled the situation, and all of us got out okay.
That is truly, truly horrifying. Yes. What you just described there in every single way, and you've got a big ass smile on your face. You're a crazy person. You are simply an insane person. I understand. You love to take it all to the edge of life. You right now are insane with envy because Richard Branson went to space before you did.
Yes, I am. I actually emailed him through his office the day before, wishing him the best of luck, and I just said, I am very jealous. And I would have been sitting beside him if I had the opportunity. It's just one of those things that, he's right. As a child, you sit back and you dream. And, I remember when the first man landed on the moon. And you sit back and go, wow, I would love to be able to do that. Then you look at the space shuttle, and then you look at all the other things. Yes, you see the travesty of some of the accidents that have happened, but at the same time, it's the exploration of the unknown. It fascinates me, and for him to do that would be incredible. Somebody asked me a question many years ago. They said, if you were on the Star Trek Enterprise and you were asked to go away, knowing you'll never come back, would you leave planet Earth in knowing that you're going to go explore the universe out there and never know whether you're going to come back, not come back? And I said, of course I would go. Absolutely, I would go. I would go out there because the thought of seeing things, understanding new things, stuff that we can't even comprehend today, just fascinates me. I read the science journals all the time. I read magazines that are about all that. And, it just fascinates me. And we're lucky on this earth, right? And we screw it up too, big time, guys. We screw up this planet in a big way, in many different ways humanity does. And to see the purity and the innocence and the infinity of universe and what it can offer and what it can teach us, we're not here forever. And there's got to be other avenues or access for us to understand where our future is going to be, whether it's 10 billion years from now, 5 billion years from now, or even a million years from now.
Have you reached out to Jeff Bezos? Because he's going to space. You're Greg Bleepin Norman. You're one of the best golfers of all time. Like, you have access to these kinds of people, and I'm certain one of them would love to take you on a journey through space.
Bezos, congratulations. Yeah. You did it.
Yeah, look, congratulations to both of them, right? I mean, I don't call it a billionaire's race to space. I just call it two innovative guys who are fascinated about the opportunity of what space travel can give to us, from an environmental standpoint, even from the travel standpoint, the time standpoint, what it can do for the private enterprises and the opportunity and getting that away from government-funded stuff. I just love these guys like that. They're entrepreneurs. Obviously, they're successful. Obviously, they've got enough money. Obviously, they've got enough support mechanisms around them from other corporate dollars that come in to follow where they're going to go. And the wealth that sits out there is incredible, but the wealth being injected into the right places, like Bezos and Branson have done, is just incredible. And look, if I had the opportunity, I would definitely say yes. Thanks, guys.
What is the most awed Greg Norman has been by nature?
By nature, this is going to sound kind of weird. I was talking about space, and when I bought a new Gulfstream aircraft, it was a 550, and I was leaving the Northeast and coming down to Florida. I was on the plane on my own, and I said to my pilot, I said, let's push the limits. Let's get up there around 55,000 feet, 57,000 feet if we can. And then every manufacturer has a ceiling limitation on their aircraft. And because I was in the plane on my own, just with my flight crew, I checked with them first. We decided to see how high we could get. And we left New York, and we just put enough fuel on to management, because you got to have a light load of fuel. And we're getting up around South Carolina, and we're getting to the burn rate, the fuel burn rate, to line up. And we just kept going up, then up, then up, and up. And obviously, you've got to be aware of factors. And fortunately for me, I was at Miramar many years earlier than that, and going up and doing some traps on the Carl Vincent. So we were in the decompression chamber, testing. So if something happens at altitude, you know how to eject, you know what to do if there's a decompression in the cockpit. So I'd done a few of that, not a lot, but I was very aware of what would happen, and you only have seconds to react. So we went up there, and we got up around, I think it was like 56,000 feet. And you could actually see the curvature of the horizon. And it was really a cool experience. It was dead black above us, and you could see the horizon was curving. So I've seen it in the Concorde back in the good old days when it was up there, and to see it in my own aircraft was something we probably shouldn't have done. But we push the
Probably.
limitation
What
of
a
machinery
great,
and humanity.
what a great answer. And Billy, you've looked horrified the entire time he's
That's
talking.
insane, with all due respect, Mr. Shark. That's insane. Why would you do that? What's the difference between flying at 30,000 and 50,000 inside the airplane? Just go on YouTube if you want to see the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, but it's not the same. You can see it through somebody else's lens, but I like to see it through my own lens.
All right, so
You're insane.
You're the character in the Ben Stiller movie. Was it Pfeffler, the guy who couldn't be insured because he was constantly base jumping off of buildings and stuff? Your life insurance must be insane, Greg. It must be insane.
Now, the only thing I probably wouldn't do, guys, and this might sound strange. I mean, I actually was at Mount Everest with my wife a few years ago. We got up to around 21,000 feet. And my goal that time was I wanted to summit Mount Everest. And, thinking of the time period of what I'd have to do it, it was years and years of training. So, the only thing that really does probably put the hair on the back of my neck up would be kind of like Free Solo. Do you ever see that
Yeah,
movie?
it's great. Yeah, it's great.
That to me, I don't know whether I could do that. Those guys are pure geniuses. They're pure faith in their own professionalism and knowledge of what the environment's giving them. I've watched that movie probably more than any other movie or documentary. Excuse me. I just absolutely just admire those guys tremendously.
And you were watching that movie. Were you also admiring the artwork in the fact that also was a relationship movie, that she was trying to climb her own mountain, the mountain of sort of not necessarily fixing him, but understanding the mindset? In fact, I'm guessing, Greg, that your dating life might, women must really love adrenaline or be scared all the time that the person that they love is going to harm himself.
Well, that's true. I mean, you got to have somebody who understands what you like to do. My kids love to do. My daughter and I did a tremendous dive in Truck Lagoon. If you know where Truck Lagoon is, like America's payback to Japan in World War II after Pearl Harbor. Anyway, you go to Truck Lagoon. It's in Micronesia, and it's an incredible dive site because America did decimate the Japanese Navy there and all their supply vessels. And you can dive down to over 200 feet, and you can actually dive into like hospital ships. And anyway, my daughter, who's a master diver, we want to do a deep penetration into one of these ships. And so we go deep. We're approaching 200 feet, and we're getting in the engine room of one of these warships. And you're going down these, the stairways are like this, the ladder's like this narrow. So you're going down there, and if you bang your tank on the side of the walls, all the sediment comes down. So you have to be really, really careful. So we traverse all the way down, and we get to the bottom, and there is a skull wedged in between the hull and the framing of the boat, where obviously somebody got passed away down there. And those are the type of things you go, okay, now you can close your eyes and actually feel and see and understand what happened on this boat at that given time for that individual. And so when we came back up, we had to do like a 3-hour decompression stop at 15 feet. We sat on this little T-bar ladder, and we strapped ourselves in, and you just go to sleep. And so you do your decompression that way. And that to me, to do that with my daughter was just amazing to have that experience. And she was so calm and so professional about it. And those are the type of memories that you only share with one or two people in your entire life. And I'm glad I did it with my daughter.
So you do a lot of things that are risky that you could die doing. And I mean this in a serious way. How do you want to die?
Nobody's ever asked me that question before. How do I want to die? Be honest with you, just going to bed and not waking up.
Seems boring.
Quietly,
Boring.
I know it sounds boring, but at the end of the day, quite honestly, I don't think I do anything that pushes myself to the limit where I think I could die.
Greg,
I
you just described 10 different things.
You tried to fly a regular plane into space.
Greg,
You're bored by flying, like a first-class flight.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, but the plane that up to 55,000+ feet was about the brilliant engineering of the American manufacturers, right? I trust the engineers, I trust the builders, I trust the pilots, I just trusted people in that situation. It wasn't me doing anything. It was me just sitting in the back of the aircraft, just experiencing it. Oh, by the way, when we got up there, it's an amazing feeling, right? So you get up to the max altitude where the pilot felt comfortable, and you can feel the plane slipping through the air because obviously the density of the air is very, very thin up there, and you could actually feel it because the plane was just like doing this all the time. And so, that was me. I was just going along for a ride like Sir Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos is going to do.
We'll get to some golf in a second. Do you fear death, Greg?
No, I'm not. It's inevitable, whether it's natural causes or whether it's through other causes, it's inevitable. You got to live life every day. It's a new day. You got to experience it and feel it. And the older you get, the more people you see who are not as fortunate as you are to experience things in life. So, you appreciate things a lot. So, no, I'm not in fear of it. I don't want to die. I want to live to about 115 is my goal. 115, 116 is my goal in life because there's so much to experience. Seems like every 3 years, 4 years, there's a whole new world that gets exposed. And hell, guys, look what we've just been exposed to for the last 20 months with COVID, how the world has changed and how the world's going to come out to be a different place as we look forward to the next 3-4 years, how we're going to understand what we're going to do and how we're going to position ourselves never to let a pandemic like this ever happen again and make people accountable for it. So, all these things you want to live for because you learn so much.
Is there like a normal thing you won't do? Like, I don't want to go on a motorcycle. That seems too dangerous for me. What's something that like you are like, nah.
Yeah,
I'm good.
what? I've got a really common weird fear of this.
No, I'm pretty cool with everything. I don't do everything, of course. One thing I've never really mastered is kiteboarding. So there you go. And I think I'll leave that to the younger generation nowadays.
You bum. You're a failure, Norman, and a coward.
Greg, what's the death-defying stunt that you haven't had the opportunity to try yet that's on the bucket list?
Death-defying stunt. I would say Mount Everest would be it. I love to ascend Mount Everest because even though a lot of people have done it, a lot of people haven't made it too. It's a graveyard of people who have attempted up there, but just the thought, you see what, I can't remember the individual's name, the girl who just with no legs climbed Kilimanjaro. You admire the tenacity and the belief and the want of individuals like that. She just did it, I think, in the last week, I believe. And, you go, okay, what pushes people to this, to do something that's out of the norm, but really not, because we are all stuck in a box, and it's all our own mental box that we feel safe in. And we have the blankets pulled up around our necks and shoulders to feel secure. If you want to live that way, great. Life is good. America is a great country to live in. Australia is a great country to live in. And if you feel secure in those places, why not stay in the box? But, I'm not an in the box type of guy. I like to understand the nuances of the world, whether they're on the edge or whether there's something that I haven't experienced. I should write a book one day about all the things that I have seen and experienced from, being in the outback of Australia, being attacked by one of our big brown snakes, stuff like that, being in Tanzania with my friends on a safari, and, you can hear the lions literally on the other side of probably 20, 30 feet from me, just gnawing away on some carcass, things like that. Right now, when I just mentioned that, that was probably one of the moments that I actually felt a little uncomfortable because I was kind of, had no exit strategy. I didn't know what to do, and I'm trying to play things out in my mind if they get the sniff of us or they feel threatened with their prey. So that was one situation that I actually thought, oh boy, this could be interesting.
Greg, the Open Championship's coming up, and I know it's important to you, and I know this course is important to you because it's a tournament you've won. This is a course you've won at, and so I'm wondering, what does it take to win? What kind of golfer, today's golfer, will win, will have success at this kind of course?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot has to do with the weather. And I looked at the weather report yesterday for Sandwich, England, and it's like rained all day yesterday, and the wind is going to be out between the northwest and the northeast. So it's going to be varying or moving around about 30, 35 degrees. And it's going to be the same speed, around 10 to 20 mile an hour. That doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to understand the wind on links golf courses in the UK, whether it's Scotland, Ireland, or England, it's a very, very heavy wind. And if it's coming out of the north, it's a little bit cooler. So the ball doesn't travel as far. And then it's understanding the nuances of this really quirky golf course. And I mean, honestly, quirky golf course. It meanders all over the place. And there's humps and hollows and ridges and blind shots. And you really got to understand how you want to play the golf course. I, in 93, came up with my caddy, Tony Navarro, and Butch Harmon, because I was driving the ball so great. I decided to take on a lot of the dog legs and take it over the corner, hit it over the gallery, or hit it over a TV tower, or hit it over there, because I was hitting to the widest part of the fairway because I was hitting beyond the turning points. So if you're going to lay up, you're laying up to the narrowest point. But I took on the corners and I was hitting to the widest place. So there were like 4 or 5 holes there that I really took advantage of, and I didn't back off. I stayed to my game plan the whole week.
Greg, we always appreciate your time. So 2 final questions, one of them a follow-up. What is the story behind the snake bite?
The snake bite.
You just said that right before your lion story, you said that you were bitten by a snake.
One of my things I did when I was a kid growing up in Australia was head into the outback with some friends. We'd have some trucks and we'd put bunk beds in the back of the trucks up high, and we go up into the northern part of Queensland, northwestern part of Queensland, up to a place called the Gregory River. And there we were really going out there hunting wild pigs. And, obviously in those days, back in the 70s, you could hunt crocodiles and you could do all this stuff. And up there, the station owners, which are ranchers over here, station owners have these artesian bores that the water gets pumped up to feed the cattle. And these artesian board feed these water troughs. And we were, probably, I'm guessing, 60, 90 feet away on the other side of this trough. And this brown snake, which is one of our deadliest and most aggressive snakes in Australia, just came up and put himself like this and started attacking us. And I thought, okay, he's going to stop before he gets to the water. And he came racing across the water, still aggressively at us. And myself and my friends had to jump on top of the roof of the car. And we're shooting at this thing, as many bullets as we had in our guns, shooting at this thing, trying to stop it because it was so aggressive and coming at us. And eventually we hit it, somebody hit it. I don't know whether it was me or not. We were all unloading whatever we had in our weapons. And, that was a really interesting experience because I didn't expect a brown snake to be as aggressive as what it was, but they're territorial. We're in their element, and we shouldn't have been there. And he was just he or she was just teaching us a lesson.
All this is an odd strategy for a man whose goal it is to live to 115 years old.
That is correct, but it happened early in life. And the last question here, Instagram at @shark_Greg Norman. On your Instagram account, I want to know what your friends were saying. I want to know who alerted you to the fact that you had posted a photo on the beach. You're wearing shorts, you're shirtless, you're smoldering, and it appears that everyone can see exactly what the shark was packing.
Well, honestly, I didn't even think about looking at that. It didn't even register to me. I just posted the photograph because I thought it was pretty cool with my new dog, English lab that I had there. And hey guys, I can't help if Mother Nature was good to me, right? It's just.
Did we ever doubt what he was packing?
There's some guys who may be jealous, and there's some women who may be jealous too. I don't know.
Hell of a dorsal fin.
I'm not sure if that was
Technically claspers.
Mother Nature that was dealing with all of that. But how were you alerted to it? Who alerted you to it? What's the backstory there? And there was no shame. You were just like, well, it happens.
Well, no, I wasn't put to shame. It was actually, I can't remember who actually alerted me to them, but obviously my Instagram account blew up, and I was getting a lot of this. What it was, I was getting a lot of calls from the media. I'm thinking, what is this? Well, they're asking me about the question about my blue shorts on the beach. What is that? I mean, I had to think about what they were asking me about. So I don't look at my Instagram account once I post, right? Like you posted. I don't read comments. And so I went back and started reading the comments, and I went, oh, this is goddamn hilarious how people are reacting to this.
Greg, thank you for always making time for us, sir. We always appreciate talking to you. You carried us through the pandemic during a lonely time, just telling us stories. Thank you, sir.
You got it, guys. Thank you very much, and keep up doing the great show. I love it.
Thank you, Greg.